Lock in all sports, all plays, all 5% best bets from now until Super Bowl 57 on February 12th, 2023 from your favorite WagerTalk handicapper for only $1,199 versus a regular price of $1,999 for one total savings of $800. This limited time super discount comes out to less than $100 per month and only $3.28 per day. As an added bonus, your all access starts immediately, so the sooner you buy before Super Bowl 56, the more additional days you will get for free. Just go to WagerTalk.com, choose your favorite handicapper to lock in, and don't forget there is no limit to the amount of handicappers you can redeem our Super Bowl to Super Bowl offer on.
Welcome into the NFL Opening Line Report, AFC, NFC Championship Week. I am Drew Martin, like always, joined by Teddy Covers each and every Monday morning right here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Welcome in on the chat box. Also, if you're watching on replay, feel free to reply below. Teddy, welcome in, buddy. Happy Monday morning. We got Championship Week upon us.
What did we just see, dude? I mean, At the end of the games last night, I'm like, what did I just watch over the last 2 days? That was a heck of a weekend from a fan standpoint. From a betting standpoint, best I can tell, there was one right side, there was one right total, and everything else was a coin flip. You know, the Rams were the right side. The under in the Packers-Niners game was a right side, was a right total.
Oh, yeah.
And everything else, either you're on the right side of the breaks or you're on the wrong side of the breaks. In terms of in terms of easy right side winners, clear, this was the right side. The Rams were the only one. Everything else was exciting,
Sure.
good for fans. But from a betting standpoint, we want right sides and wrong sides. We want winners and losers. We want, hey, if we handicap the game correctly, we're going to get money. And that wasn't necessarily the case this past week.
Yeah. I mean, exciting, particularly Sunday's games. And guys, we're going to be just recapping each of the games real quick, and then we will, of course, be doing the NFL Opening Line Report here. But we'll start off with the Saturday kicks, Teddy, just kind of what you took away here. The 4:30 kick, the afternoon kick, the Cinderella. Can we say that, Teddy? I'm not really sure. But Cincinnati Bengals at the Tennessee Titans. We saw the Bengals win this one on the road as the dog, winning outright here, 19-16. What'd you take away from Nashville on Saturday?
No, the Bengals didn't win it. The Titans lost it.
Okay.
I mean, how many times do you see a guy get sacked 9 times in a game and that team ends up winning? That's, of all the stats I want to see, that's the one I'm really interested in. Because Joe Burrow, the Bengals did not control the line of scrimmage. Okay. Burrow was under pressure throughout. But Tennessee made all the crucial mistakes in that ballgame, all of them. I mean, when you talk about the brain fart from Vrabel to say, "Oh, let's go for 2 here," with the game tied 6-6. You take I'm a proponent of aggressive coaches. When you have a chance to take a lead, you take a lead. That was a brain fart. They went for 2 at 6-6. Tannehill threw a pick on 1st and goal. Okay, maybe on 3rd and goal you can get away with a pick, not on 1st and goal. Henry gets stuffed on 4th down, and then Tannehill throws the pick with 20 seconds left to give Cincy just enough time to get into field goal range and lose. So, I mean, Tennessee had a better than 2-to-1 rushing edge. They were 1.4 yards per play better. Burrow got sacked 9 times, and Cincy still won the game. There's a reason the Bengals are touchdown underdogs at KC. They were not the better of the 2 teams, but they made fewer mistakes than their opponent.
Sure. I mean, the Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, that LSU connection, Teddy, that's kind of fun to watch, see how far it can go. But you're right, seeing 7s now in the early week line here, guys. And we'll get into where that line will be moving here in just a second. But the night game on Saturday, Teddy, unfortunately, I was on the wrong side of this one. 13-10, the San Francisco 49ers go on the road, back-to-back games on the road, knocking them off, knocking the Packers, the 1 seed in the NFC, off 13-10. They did so as 6-point underdogs. That profile of a tough team, gritty, good defense. It cashes again, Teddy. How far can this Niners team go, man? What did you take away from Lambeau Saturday night?
San Fran did nothing offensively in that ballgame.
Offensively.
All right,
yeah.
Nothing. They gained 212 yards for the game. 4.1 yards per play. They went 0 for 3 in the red zone. The 49ers were able to win the game because their defense shut down Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers said after the game how bad he was. And Aaron Rodgers was awful, awful. After that, he had the first couple of drives where he looked good, and the rest of the game, Aaron Rodgers and the offense was completely out of sync. But the big issue in the game, the thing that turned the game around completely, the thing that allowed San Fran to win, special team. A blocked field goal, a long kick return to set up their first score. But even that, it's 10-3. There's 4 minutes left. Green Bay is winning this game and covering the point spread. Except that the 49ers block another kick, a punt for a touchdown with 4 minutes to play. Momentum had changed. San Fran ends up getting the win and the cover, and Green Bay didn't deserve to win. But again, this wasn't San Fran playing great football. This was San Fran taking advantage of Packers' mistakes. Something that, in a 13-10 game, look, if you're laying 6 and your team only scores 10, you weren't on the right side. And yet, if the Packers don't allow the second block kick of the game, they probably win and cover. So San Fran has found a way, despite Garoppolo, to win a pair of playoff games. We'll see if they can win a third in L.A. And by the way, looks like we may have an emergency betting alert on that game when we get to it.
Hey, stay tuned for that. And Teddy, I do have a follow-up question there in Lambeau. You've been doing this a long time, successfully in the NFL, guys, going back multiple years here, 56% win rate in the NFL. Teddy, you bring up, the Niners kind of, not that they didn't win the game, but the Packers, kind of didn't take it themselves. And you bring up the special teams with the block kicks. Is that, in your opinion, kind of handicappable? And how much do you bring in special teams handicap going forward in the NFL? Is that a big part of your handicap?
So the answer is no, it's not a big part. The answer is, in theory, it's not handicappable. Not with 2 block kicks, really wasn't. Where that is the exception of the rule. That being said, so it's something I do use in college football a fair bit, but I don't expect the meltdowns in the NFL. But when you look at the special teams matchup, 49ers elite, Packers ranked dead last in all kinds of different categories. Clearly, it's something that I should have paid more attention to in my handicap of the game. I had Green Bay minus the points. It wasn't very fun. This whole playoffs for me hasn't been very fun. I've been on the wrong side of a bunch of these frustrating decisions, and it's been a real crappy playoffs for my clients, unfortunately, and for my bankroll. That being said, all we can do is take a look back at what just happened and take a look forward and see if we can find some right sides for this week, and that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, we got 3 games left, arguably the 3 biggest games of the season, guys. So we got the Sunday slate. And Teddy, just a quick follow-up to what you said. I like that you said in college football you use it a lot, because I do as well. One thing I like to do is go back in recruiting rankings, just because you'll get more of that talent at the depth, guys playing special teams. When you look at punt teams and kickoff teams, guys, a lot of that is like the backup linebackers, just the guys that aren't getting enough playing time, but they're talented guys kind of waiting their turn. That's sometimes how I do it, Teddy, in terms of handicapping special teams in college. Tell you the truth, I could probably improve in handicapping special teams in the NFL, a lot of improvement here. But yeah, that's just kind of one tip I have for college football. So Teddy, anything in closing before we move on to the Sunday games?
Yeah, in theory, the NFL doesn't have the same type of disparities as college football has. In college football, You can really see, where one team has a dominant special teams edge. But here's the key to special teams. All right. And it's really important to talk about. I'm glad you brought it up. Any team with great special teams is going to win the field position battle again and again.
Yeah.
Their average drive is going to start, let's say, at their own 40, and their opponent's average drive is going to start at their opponent's own 20. Because they're winning the field position war. When you win the field position war because of good special teams, your statistical profile looks worse than it should, because you're traveling shorter fields and your opponents are traveling longer fields when they score.
Interesting.
So the yardage numbers, which so much of this is based on yardage numbers, the yardage numbers get skewed against you when you have good special teams. So when you find a team that has that legit special teams edge, in theory, there's going to be a lot of value with that squad because not only are their special teams good, but their full season stats are not going to be as impressive as they might look otherwise. And therefore, those good special teams tend to be good bets bet on. But you see the bigger disparities in college football compared to the NFL. You don't find a lot of NFL special teams meltdowns the way that the Packers did on Saturday night. And both teams coming off the bye and losing, much like last year, it's telling us whatever there might have been for the home field, that home field edge that you spend all year trying to get, worthless for the second year in a row.
Sure. I mean, both of the 1 seeds, guys, with that bye losing. Kind of crazy stuff happening here in the NFL playoffs. We got the Sunday recaps here. Then we'll get to the opening line report, 3:00 Eastern kick. This was the first game on Sunday. LA Rams, Tampa Bay Bucks, Raymond James Stadium, Tampa, Florida, 30-27. Bucks gave it a go here in the comeback, Teddy. End up falling short, so they lose as -3 favorites. Rams go on the road, cross country, win outright as 3-point underdogs. What'd you take away from Tampa, Florida yesterday, Teddy?
I mean, this game was a screw up. Both teams were like, let's see how many times we can screw up completely. Brady had been 49-0 when his defense forces 4+ turnovers in his career. Now he's 49-1. All right. Forget the Tampa Bay side because LA's a team we got to talk about moving forward. The Rams really, really tried to give that game away. When you have 4 turnovers, you had the bad snap fumble after the Brady INT. You had the 2 Akers fumbles, the one before halftime, then again late in the game. You had the what was the other turnover? There was 4 of them. There were repeated
Big
Rams mistakes to allow Tampa to get back in the ballgame. Tampa had this game was over 6 times, and the Rams are like, no, you seriously, come on, make it interesting. Come on, make it interesting. And then game on the line. We're ripping coaches and coordinators. I haven't got to Leslie Frazier and Sean McDermott yet, but Todd Bowles to call a 0 coverage all out blitz on Matthew Stafford with the game on the line. The Bucks schemed Cooper Kupp onto a safety for the game-winning catch. That was one team. Stafford took advantage, but that was the Bucks saying, "Let's screw this up completely," and LA taking advantage to get the win and cover. But it wasn't pretty for the Rams. You're the Rams. Are you confident after that game? After you spent the I guess you are because you screwed up so much and still found a way to win it. But at 27-3, which could have been 34-3, see that game tied late in a game where Brady didn't play well. The game felt over. The defense dominated the line of scrimmage. LA has games like that. They've had a bunch of them against San Fran.
Yeah, absolutely. And setting up the all NFC West championship game there with the Niners and the Rams for the 3rd time this season. We'll get into that in just a second. But last recap here, guys, Sunday night, arguably, Teddy, the best game of the season. Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs, 42-36. The Chiefs knock off the Bills at home. They did so as 2-point closing favorites. 54.5 was the total. There's a little bit of, towards the total, it might not get there. And then towards the end of this game, Teddy, it just blew up and overs bettors cash in. But the story here, Kansas City winning this game 42-36 as 2-point favorites. What'd you take away from Arrowhead Stadium last night, Teddy?
So forget everything. All right. This game would have been the best game of the year if it ends 36-33 like it's supposed to. All right. When the Bills score a touchdown with 13 seconds left, okay, these are the type of brain farts you can't have. All right. For the coach not to know for McDermott, who we like and respect, not to know there's a huge difference between 13 seconds and 10 seconds and 8 seconds. You have to squib kick it there. It's not a maybe. It's not a kind of. It's not a, okay, well, should we have, shouldn't we? You don't give KC 2 plays from the 25 when you can give them 1 play. I don't care if it's from the 40, before the field goal attempt, before the Hail Mary try. If they squib kick it, they win the game. And then when you see the defense that Leslie Frazier is calling when you have two plays to see, KC have two open receivers for two big plays downfield, that's on the defensive play call. All right. So you have the coaching staff who doesn't know to squib kick it, and the defense coordinator who doesn't know that you have to be, that you cannot worry about rushing the passer there. It's about killing clock. And that's how the Bills go out. I mean, that Buffalo did everything that they needed to do to win that game, and their coaches let them down. And I don't think, those are the type of deals where the Bills will, there'll be a hangover from this. You can't look at the coaching staff the same way after they cost you the game. Obviously, KC did enough. They found a way. Heck of a game. It was a heck of a game, but I think it would have been a heck of a game at 36-33. And then obviously the coin flip decides who's going to win. Neither team would have gotten a stop in OT. As good a game as you'll ever see. And hopefully you didn't have Buffalo like I did.
Quarterback play was next level. I mean, I guess there isn't a next level, but some of the best quarterback play I can remember. Teddy, talking about the overtime, the coin flip. I mean, just turning, looking at the Twitter app, you got a lot of opinions there. Teddy, does the NFL need to go to college football overtime? What's your opinion real quick?
There's no right answer. There is no right answer. The college overtime rules stink too, okay? It doesn't make for a great game. Yes, yeah, but now with the 2-point conversion, I mean, it's one play.
Yeah.
Lots of commercial breaks. Yeah, I don't know what the right answer is. I'm not going to say that I do.
Yeah, I mean, it's really all opinion-based, guys. But let us know in the chat box what you guys think, what the NFL needs to do about overtime rules. Maybe keep it the same. Hey, reply below, guys, watching on replay here each and every Monday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, right here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Teddy covers Drew Martin, NFL opening line report. So, Teddy, it is getting to be time now to be breaking down these games from a opening line report standpoint. We got, 2 games, both on Sunday, guys. No more Saturday NFL, at least not this season. So we'll get into it here, breaking the games down. We got opening lines here for the first game. It is the Cincinnati Bengals at the Kansas City Chiefs, 3:05 Eastern, 12:05 Pacific kick here, 3-2-1, 3-2-2. Bengals at Chiefs, -7 across the board right now. Teddy, different kind of price points, -105 at a lot of places, -110 at others, but -7 across the board. Looking at the WagerTalk odds screen, 54.5 here, Teddy. What are we thinking? Opening line report style, Bengals at Chiefs.
Yeah, and of course, next week at this time, we'll have the Super Bowl line to discuss. We'll do 2 Super Bowl shows over the 2 weeks between the end of the championship games and the big game itself. The first one, we'll talk mostly, well, that's all we have at the time, side and total. The second one, the second week, we'll talk a lot of props for Super Bowl Sunday and where the early lines have moved prop-wise. When it comes to this game, again, we don't necessarily have look-ahead lines the same way here. That being said, my powering number, KC -6 against Cincinnati. We're painted 7 everywhere right now, but one of the leading indicator books is 7 with some plus money towards KC. This is going to be a sharp square divide game. The pros, the Joes will be on Kansas City. There will be some pro support for Cincinnati in this contest. I'm confident of that. And, again, my number was 6 on the game. The markets are at 7 this morning. Now, the Bengals were, both these teams were lucky to be where they are today. Cincy surviving the 9 sacks, Cincy surviving what felt at times like a Tennessee onslaught, but the defense made the plays when they had to. KC's defense didn't make the plays when they had to. Their offense did, but the defense couldn't do anything with the game on the line. Now, is Joe Burrow going to be playing at Josh Allen's level or at Patrick Mahomes' level? Not necessarily. Can Kansas City's pass rush get there? That, to me, is the biggest question for this game, because Burrow's coming off a 9-sack showing, and if he faces that type of pressure in this game, since he has no chance, or shouldn't say no chance, but anything can happen in the modern NFL. But since he will be up against it, this line again, I wouldn't talk you out of taking the +7 with Cincy today if you like it. I don't think we're going to see 7.5s across the board. That said, at some of the public books, you might see some 7.5s. But this line, in my mind, certainly looking at the markets right now, I don't think it's going to move off of 7. Total wise, we've seen anywhere open as low as 50.5 at some shots. Now 54.5. No one's betting under in this game, not yet, until we see the forecast. And of course, these two teams just played a few weeks ago in Cincinnati, a game that the Chiefs had a 2-touchdown lead 3 different times, and the Bengals each time rallied back to make things interesting and ended up winning the game 34-31 on another McPherson field goal. McPherson's money for Cincinnati right now. But of course, in this game, unlike in the Titans game, where Cincinnati was comfortable settling for field goals, you settle for field goals against Kansas City, you're likely to be in for a long game. Remember that meeting between that first meeting, that was the game where the Bengals went for it on 4th and goal from the 1 instead of kicking the game tying field goal. They went for it on 4th and goal to win, which they ended up doing. But it was one of those scenarios where you're like, what's Zach Taylor doing? He's trying to make sure that he doesn't give the ball back to Patrick Mahomes with any time on the clock, something that the Bills might have tried to remember for yesterday.
Nice one there, Teddy. We got okay, so Teddy, let me just ask you a question here. In terms of the spread, -7 right now, Kansas City Chiefs painted across the board, WagerTalk odds screen. More likely to see 6.5 or more likely to see 7.5? And if one or the other, what are the chances that it moves off of the 7?
So if I'm going to make a bet right now on this game, the one that you would, if I want to lock in on something, it would be Cincy plus the 7. Okay. There's some chance this goes down to 6.5. Now, there's also some chance that at the public books, it could go up to 7.5, possibly. But I would say more likely to go down based on what I'm seeing right now, based on the fact that these two teams played just a couple of weeks ago, and it was a field goal game won by Cincinnati, based on the fact that the Chiefs just left it all on the field on Sunday, Cincy with that extra day to prepare. All those factors make me think that we'll see some Cincinnati support. That being said, we talk about Zach Taylor versus Andy Reid. The coaching matchups mattered this weekend. It mattered last weekend too. And Andy Reid right now is a coach who's difficult to step in front of for many bettors. And Taylor Taylor's not at that level.
And Teddy, final question here. We've seen the total. You touched on it a little bit. What almost field goal move here towards the over. Some guys in the chat box saying they jumped on it early. Some good bets there, guys. Shout out to you. 54. We're seeing it as high as 54.5. How high could this go? Because we are also seeing the WagerTalk odds screen saying 90% of the money on the over. So you're right. No under money here. I mean, you'd like to think it's the NFL, arguably the most efficient marketplace in the sports betting industry, and this total all the way up to 54.5. How high could it go, Teddy? I mean, could we see 56? Could we see 57? I mean, that would be a huge move.
It's sticking right here. 54.5, 55. I would be really surprised. I think at 55.5, we'll see buyback.
Okay.
So if you ask me how high can it go, it could go as high as 55. I'm not convinced it's even going to get that high. I think it sticks right in this 54.5 range. And remember, all right, if you had the under in KC Buffalo, you look at the final score, you go, oh, I was so wrong. So many big plays in that game. That game played out like an under. Long, slow, methodical drives. If you had the under, you felt good about it the whole way until the 2-minute warning. Or until the 75-yard TD pass. The couple of quick strikes made all the difference in that contest. But Mahomes very comfortable taking what the defense was giving. It wasn't trying to force the ball downfield. A lot of dink and dunks. There was, I think, 6 or 7 drives in that game that were 5+ minute drives. And that's what you want when you're betting unders. But they all turn to touchdowns when it's the Chiefs. That's the issue, is that they all turn, you don't get the field goals in Kansas City games, especially with a coach like Zach Taylor, who knows you can't beat the Chiefs kicking field goals. So that means you're going to get the 4th down tries for Cincinnati. You can count on that in a game like this. They're going to do what they do, which doesn't necessarily bode well for underbettors. Since he'd be going for it on 4th down in this game.
He's Teddy Covers on Twitter at Teddy_Covers. I'm on Twitter at Drew Martin Bets. Guys, reminder, it's Monday. It's $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. All plays discounted to just $9. We got the nightcap here, Teddy. 323-324. San Francisco 49ers, LA Rams. The trifecta is on Sunday night. 46.5 being the total, pretty much across the board totals wise here. A little bit of under money from the open at 47. And sidewise, guys, we are seeing -3.5. You know, Teddy, last night there was just some -3 flats there. It is pretty much -3.5 across the board now. That's the Rams as the home favorite. SoFi Stadium there in Southern California. All California NFC Championship game, Teddy. What are we thinking here in SoFi on Sunday night?
This, my friends, is a rare postseason emergency betting alert. Let's roll. Yeah, so we got 3.5s out there. And Drew, last night I was seeing mostly 3.5s. I know you said you saw mostly 3s, maybe at the open at 3. Last night the board was painted 3.5. This morning the board is painted 3.5, even money with some 3s starting to pop. I'll just say this. If you like the 49ers, find a 3.5 right now and grab it. I'm not convinced that line is going to be there. And it's not going to go up. All right. If you take plus 3.5 right here, you're not going to be, oh man, it's on +4, +4.5 on game day. Don't expect to see that. It can only go down. So you lock in, much like with KC and Cincy. Yeah, you know, and KC, Cincy, I said, yeah, take your Cincy right now, +7. You might well see 7.5s on game day for that. You could. This one, you're not going to see 4s. You're going to see 3.5s or 3s. And based on the early line move, based on the series history, and of course, this is a series history that's been as one way as it gets. San Fran 6-0, straight up 5-1 against the spread the last 6 meetings against LA dating back to 2019. And oh, by the way, the 49ers were underdogs all 5 times they won the game straight up, including both meetings this season against the 49ers. So again, we're seeing 3 and 3.5 right now. If you want San Fran plus the points, take the plus 3.5 and put it in your pocket sooner rather than later. That's the kind of thing you probably want to do on a Monday morning, because I'm not convinced those 3.5s are going to be here. And of course, these two teams just played to close out the regular season. San Fran 27, LA 24, and a matchup that came down to a late touchdown for the 49ers with 26 seconds left, and then the field goal in overtime. And much like everybody else, San Fran's defense messed the Rams up in both games. The 49ers defense messed Aaron Rodgers up pretty good last week. It's a 49ers defense right now that's playing at a championship level. They shut down Dallas. They shut down Green Bay. They've had a heck of a postseason. And when you're looking at bad games for the 49ers defense, I mean, it's been 2 months since they played one, that game in Seattle that they lost. And even that was a weird game where San Fran was probably the right side and came up short. My powering on the number on this game is only LA -2.5 based on the current form of these two teams. And again, the Rams did everything in their power yesterday, to screw that game up. Stafford made all the mistakes that we thought that he might make. The coaching staff choking it up with the lead. There are issues with LA. That said, at -3, I do think the Rams are better of these two teams. And all my concerns about Jimmy G, they've been able to win 2 playoff games despite him, not because of him. Jimmy G is still, again, of the 4 QB still standing, Garoppolo, clearly the weakest of the bunch.
Teddy, this is a fascinating handicap, just playing for the 3rd time. You bring up 27-24, the final game of the regular season there on January 9th. That was in SoFi Stadium, so San Francisco's already gone on the road. The totals bettors got OT'd. That game actually fell over because it went into overtime. That total was 47. Now we're seeing, and then the first game, November 15th, that was week 10 of the regular season, guys. The Niners beat the Rams 31-10. Keep in mind, NFC West teams here playing twice in the regular season. That game fell under 50 pretty comfortably. Of course, San Francisco winning both of those games as dogs. Both 3.5 is what I'm seeing. that the game's closed at. So they won outright, obviously covering there. Teddy, totals wise, I guess it was 1 over, 1 under, but getting OT'd there on the unders. Any opinion here on where this total moves, and do you like anything totals wise in this game?
So the early money, there's been a little bit of early money on the under, and I mean, it's not huge, but there were 47s across the board last night, and we're looking at 46.5 today. So we have seen the early money come for the under. I'm not looking to bet the 49ers over the total against anybody right now. San Fran is playing an under mindset. When we look at the only game, and you talk about they got OT'd in that game against the Rams. That's the only over they played in the last 7 weeks. Was last second touchdown and then score an OT to send the game over the total. That's it. It's been one under after the next. And certainly the 49ers correlate well with under. San Fran wants to keep the ball on the ground. They want to run. They want to avoid Jimmy G having to make tough decisions or, bad throws. And they want to rely on their defense. And frankly, Rams, not the exact same mentality, but I'm not convinced it's a remarkably different mentality. McVay knows that Stafford is still very capable of making big mistakes. And LA's defense, despite their struggles in the second half against Brady and company yesterday, you asked me, what's the strength of LA, offense or defense? I'll go defense first. So certainly the under in this one makes some sense. We have seen under money in this one already, although light under money, but I'm not seeing any signs whatsoever this total is on the way up. Looks to me, again, looking at the leading indicator books and the WagerTalk live odds screen, line more likely to go down than up, but it's probably just going to stay flat here at 46 and a half for the time being.
Teddy covers with the emergency betting alert, guys. San Francisco 49ers 3.5, and it's 3.5 right now at the WagerTalk odds screen at all the books, Teddy, except a -3, -125 at Caesars there in Las Vegas. Does that surprise you? Maybe Caesars becoming a little bit of a leading indicator book, Teddy.
I'm seeing a couple other books that have threes out there right now that aren't necessarily that tend to go towards the more public side of the books. I'll just leave it at that. So I'm seeing a couple that are at 3. So I'm anticipating we'll see more 3s. That seems to be the early indicator.
All right, guys, that's the NFL opening line report. Huge shout out to the chat box here. We got Coin in the house, Carrie, Roger Long, Gambler, Clint Richardson, all you guys, smiling faces. Thanks for joining us live here each and every Monday, guys, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Next Monday will be the Super Bowl opening line report. Don't want to miss that one. Next weekend, Teddy covers, Drew Martin breaking it down like always, simulcast live on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Feel free to reply below, guys. Let us know what you think about the overtime rules in the reply section on the YouTube channel, and where you think these lines are moving. So we're always interested in people's opinion. We'll be out there. We'll be in the reply section throughout the week, kicking it up with you guys. So always appreciate it, guys. Please smash that like button. Teddy, throw it back over to you, man. Any final thoughts here before we shut it down?
Is there anything in the chat that we want to answer some questions from today? Any questions that stand out to you or me? I'm just trying to win a freaking game in the playoffs, dude. I've had a very frustrating run here in January, and that's putting it mildly. And so one of these coin flips is going to go in my favor sooner or later, but unfortunately, the Bills didn't get there, and the Packers didn't get there for me this past weekend or my clients. So it's been a frustrating playoffs. Nonetheless, we soldier on, my friend. That's all we can do. So that's what I got. And again, we'll I definitely have some early thoughts on these. We'll do our work over the next couple of days, see if we can get a good championship weekend for the clients.
I like it, Teddy.
That's what I got.
And and hitting the chat box real quick, guys. Feel free to fire away. We can take a second here if you got any last minute questions. We do have Paul Blakeney coming in to us from Essex, England, 3:30 a.m. finish. So he's a little bit tired. He's saying, loving the show. Appreciate you joining us from the other side of the pond, Paul. We got Paul also asking serious question here, guys. Futures bets, San Francisco 40-1. He also has him 28-1. Should he be hedging there, Teddy, on the futures bets with the San Francisco 49ers?
Yeah, so we got a question in the YouTube chat last week A guy who had 8-1. I think he had 8-1 on Tennessee, or it was fairly short. I mean, it was 11-1. There's a huge difference between a 28-1 when you're trying to hedge with 2 potential games less, or a 40-1 when you're trying to hedge with 2 potential games, and when you've got like an 8-1 or a 10-1, and there's still 3 potential games left. So it's night and day when it comes to hedging. Unfortunately, I gave the guy in the forum in the chat bad advice. I'm like, don't hedge Tennessee, or if you do, hedge it small, because you have your payout's not that great, and you have 3 games that you're gonna have to deal with. In this instance, where you got a 40-1 and a 28-1 in your pocket on San Fran, you absolutely hedge. And you may want to make a significant hedge wager because you get a big score if the 49ers win this game and the next one. Now, you don't want to hedge too much in the championship game because you want to do more for the Super Bowl. And San Fran, they'll be dogs to KC. They'll be favored against Cincinnati if that turns out. But, of course, the Bengals-Chiefs game goes before the 49ers-Rams game. So that will give you the thought process of whether you need to hedge a little bit more here because they're going to be playing KC, or a little bit less here because they're likely to be favored against Cincinnati. I hope that answers the question, right? And what I'm saying is that, in the YouTube comments, look, we get in there every week, and I try to answer every single person that puts a comment in there. I don't always get to it, but I really try. So please don't hesitate. Comment, question, anything. We really appreciate it. And, of course, every time you comment, it helps the YouTube algorithms. It makes this show bump up a little bit higher, and that's great for us. So we really appreciate all the comments, all the thumbs up, and, of course, all the likes and subscribes as well.
Yeah, I second that. Good stuff, Teddy. Guys, always appreciate everybody commenting below. We got Cage saying only other playoff win after being sacked 9+ times was Donovan McNabb in 2003, Teddy. So according to Cage,
Nice.
It has happened. Almost 20 years ago.
I thought the graphic was McNabb was only sacked 8 times in that game.
Okay.
Which, whatever, I forget. But now I'm going to go look that up and find out what McNabb did. But was that the year that McNabb threw up in the Super Bowl?
I think
and
it
Philly
was.
almost covered. Yeah, Philly covered but didn't win.
Yeah, I think it was.
Might have been. That might have been 2004. I don't remember. But
Yeah,
anyhow,
no,
good.
so,
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, that's Cage in the chat box for sure. He's always in here joining us live. We got any other questions, guys? Feel free to throw them out here. We'll get them right before we end. Does Whitworth injury at tackle worry you with the dominant 49ers defensive line, Teddy?
Yeah,
that's coming from Coin in the chat box.
Yeah, although what's his name? Notebook, Note Bloom, whatever. He played okay yesterday. It wasn't like Whitworth not being there was a difference maker in the game against Tampa. They were able to run the football. They were able to throw the football. I worried about the injury before kickoff, but I thought the Rams did a nice job of scheming around it, and so it worries me, but it doesn't freak me out completely. It's
okay.
not I can't play LA because of that. It's not. It says it's one of those. All right, I'm concerned, but I'm still going to play LA. But if I'm playing that game, it'll be.
Teddy, we got a question here from Michael Herbert. I have the Bengals Super Bowl future 18-1 to win the Super Bowl here. Should I take them with the points or wait for 6.5s to pop up and take the Chiefs? I have a comment here, Teddy. I'm not a huge fan of having a future and then laying points with the opposing team because you can end up losing both of those bets. So that's the advice I would give you, Mitchell Herbert. But Teddy, do you have anything there?
Yeah, you don't want a Polish middle, where you lose both sides.
Is that what it's called?
I'd say, I don't know if we can still say it ananymore. Now we can't. We don't do ethnicities. Savransky's talking here. I can't make fun of my own people. But we used to call that a Polish middle, where you lose the one side and where you lose both sides of the same game because you got bad numbers. Yeah, it's hard to hedge with Cincy at 18-1. It is. And frankly, if you bet the Bengals on the money line and they win this game and they come into the next and then they play in the Super Bowl, you're not going to get 18-1, but you're going to get close. There's not a lot you can do with that. You can lay money line on KC if you want. Look at the number right now for KC because And what'll happen in the playoffs, a lot of the times the money lines get skewed because the people that back the dog take them on the money line, and the people that back the favorite take them on the point. So the money lines get skewed. But right now, I'm not convinced that's going to be the case for Cincinnati, KC, because the spread is as high as it is. And I'm seeing you got to lay 3-1 and higher than 3-1 with the Chiefs on the money line right now, which makes it a difficult bet to hedge. At 8, you have an 18-1, you're going to have to hedge it twice. You're going to have to hedge it again if they win. And if you're laying 3-1 on the money line to hedge it here, you might want to lay 3 to win 1 and get your original bet back if they lose. Mm-hmm. So it ends up being revenue neutral for you if they lose. That's something I might consider here, but a significant hedge wager I would not make. You can't do it.
Teddy,
it kills your profitability.
Yeah, we got Michael asking, no honey badger. How much is that affecting things? And he said Bengals can hit the totals wise. It might affect it there. Question for you, Teddy. Do you think honey badger is the best nickname in sports? And also, how much do you think he's affecting this handicap?
Is he out?
I
didn't see anywhere that he's officially out yet. Yeah, he's in concussion protocol, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not seeing him. So. I'm seeing also Whitworth as a question mark too, but I'm not convinced these are updated yet. Honey badger matters, but I don't think that he matters so much that I wouldn't play the Rams without him. I mean, Weddle got caught. When you bring Weddle out of retirement, and Weddle played all right in that game. So he had the one penalty that you thought was going to change the game, but then it didn't because it came after the ball hit the ground. So they still got possession instead of giving Tampa Bay that extra possession. But it's like you're always going to find reasons to give you concern, whichever side you like. All right. Is Honey Badger being out or potentially being out enough to move the needle for me completely? It isn't. I don't trust Jimmy G. I'm not playing on Jimmy G.
Teddy, last one here from Coin.
If I go out in a blaze of flame, I'll go out on a blaze of flame. I don't trust the 49.
Okay, fair enough. We got Coin saying there will be no home field advantage for LA. SoFi will be packed with Niners fans. Book it. Inglewood will have Niners fans by the busload. Is that part of your handicap, Teddy? Is there actually not going to be that big of a home field advantage for the Rams?
How much does home field matter? All the home teams lost. Okay. I mean, point is what I'm using. When I'm saying here's my powering number, that's 1 point for home field. And I gave the Rams 1 point for home field. It may not even be worth that much. You may well be right. There will be plenty of San Fran support. I understand. I don't disagree with that at all. But it's not also, like home field matters that much now. It doesn't.
And one thing that compounds that, Teddy, is taking a look here at the away teams, like the Niners. They played on Saturday, so you kind of get that extra day to make the road trip, whereas the Rams played on Sunday, having to fly back across country. Something to keep in mind there. I like that, putting that in my back pocket with that extra day of preparation.
Yeah, no argument here.
Okay. Well, guys, we're up against it time-wise. He's Teddy Covers. I'm Drew Martin. That's going to do it. Huge shout-out to the chat box, like always. Good chopping it up with you guys here. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for the comments. Loved them all. And also, feel free to reply below. In the reply section, we'll be in there throughout the week answering any questions. So for Teddy Covers, I am Drew Martin. Guys, we'll be back next week, 10 a.m. Pacific time, right here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Best of luck with your bets until then. Thanks for tuning in.
For a limited time, when purchasing a 7-day all-access pass from either Drew Martin or Adam Trigger, you will also get a 7-day all-access pass from the other for only $1 more. Since the middle of December, Drew has produced 31% in profit and Adam 13% for a combined client bankroll increase of 45%. This combo package will also include any 5% best bets, and you can bet right alongside both Drew Martin and Adam Trigger for only $100 versus the regular price of $198 for a limited time.